disgusting. I thought that was good. Welcome back, pink people.
Welcome back.
Welcome back.
Are you still pink? We're still pink.
Even though we're in black today. I feel like we're in like nice contrast to like, I'm kind of digging it.
We're actually in the uniform.
We are, except both of our hair colors is different, but
that's
okay.
True. We're both gingers. Just kidding. Only one of us is iconic enough to be a ginger. It's you.
I feel like you could definitely be a ginger.
I'll think about it. Shall we get into our topic?
Get into it.
Yeah. Well, welcome back to the Subjective Living series.
Ooh,
Turn
ooh.
up. This is episode 2 of 6 that we have planned, but who knows how it'll go.
Yeah.
In the last episode, we introduced you to the idea of subjective living. Well, we reintroduced you to the idea of subjective living, which came from our first season.
Yes.
And we talked about subjective living through a lens of community.
Yes.
Today, we're going to talk about subjective living again, because that's what the series is all about, through a lens of appearance.
Ooh.
Subjective living ex appearance.
Yeah.
You think we should give a little description of what subjective living is?
Like a quick synopsis.
Quick synopsis.
Oh, that was good. Yeah.
I have to be honest, I've been practicing.
Oh my gosh.
And the most fun name to say is Baysaw. Tell me that's not so fun.
Come on, mate. Basa. Come on.
Baysaw.
My British friends would be proud.
Thank you.
That was good. That was good. All right. So, should I do it in a British accent?
Practice authenticity. Do whatever you want.
Okay. Subjective living. So, last season, episode 2, we introduced this analogy of the raft versus the yacht. And in it, embedded in the analogy was this idea of subjective living, which is means, love that for me, which means,
You got it.
which basically just means living by your own rules, living by your own values, not allowing the pressures of society and your parents and your peers and your job to define how you want to live life, and living it authentically. And yeah, just going with what you want to do.
Beautiful synopsis.
Thank you.
And the opposite side
Is
of subjective living is objective living. And the main idea there is that there's an objective best way to do things that's sold to us, but in a sneaky way.
Yeah.
And it's sold to us about what we want, what we do, how we look, how we think, what we should aspire to, the way we relate to people, who we relate to, blah, blah, blah. Just a million objectives, and they're all fucking sneaky.
They're terrible. It's conditioning.
They're trash.
They really are.
So the goal of this series is to dive deeper into some of those areas where we see objective living posing a particular threat to us.
Yes.
And helping us cross the line from objective living in that area to subjective living in that area. We've been doing this personal work for a while.
Yes.
So we have a bit to tell you about it. We're not experts by any means. Well, maybe a little bit.
Yeah.
We're at least experienced experts. We've experienced both sides of the coin, so we can at least tell you about those experiences.
We have testimonials.
Testimony.
Bringing that up from my church girl days.
Yeah, when I said the word that reads her Bible. When I said testimony, my brain immediately placed me in my first church. Like, I felt I was standing there. So we're here to talk about appearance.
Yes.
And it's no surprise to anyone that there is an objective best body to have in terms of the concepts that are sold to us, right? It's called the beauty standard. We all know that. That's not a surprise to anyone. So we're not here to talk about why the beauty standard is bullshit. It is.
Yeah.
But that wouldn't be new. So it wouldn't add a lot of value.
Yes.
Yes. What we do want to talk about is how we present the bodies we do have. How we prepare our appearances. Yes. And how subjective living applies to all of this. Okay. So what's interesting about the days we're living in right now is that there seems to be a huge uptick in how much everyone cares about fashion.
Yes.
Everywhere you look, people are wearing fashion right? And I'm making that voice for a particular reason that we'll get into a lot. But I truly am of the opinion that a lot of what most of these people care about is not fashion.
No.
It is something much deeper.
Yep.
And what it comes down to is it is an objective.
Yeah.
There are things we believe that we are more of, better at, blah, 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 if we wear what's fashionable, right?
Yes.
And as in any category of objective living, it comes with a number of rules and standards. It also comes with a number of silent, empty promises, all of which are traps that drive us away from ourselves.
Yeah.
And drive us away from connection, joy, peace, all the good shit you want to feel.
Yep.
So let's get into it. We are going to start by talking about our history with objective living. That's the bad one. Yes. Objective living through a lens of appearance. So I want to start by asking, over the course of living your appearance objectively,
yeah,
how did you define a quote unquote good appearance, a successful appearance?
Okay, so this is really interesting because I feel like different parts of my life are kind of like broken into like how let's be honest, the baseline was insecurity, but it was kind of like, can I fit in or can I not fit in? So when I was a kid, could not fit in at all. I remember when I was younger, like, do you remember those like skater shoes, like the DCs? Mm-hmm. I don't know why, like, that was such a big thing, but like everybody in my 3rd grade class had them, and I was the new kid in school. And I literally used to make my mom go out every single weekend and she would buy me a new pair of DC shoes. And I didn't like them. I just wanted them because everybody else had them.
Yeah.
And so I feel like when I was younger, it was a lot of like, I was different and not in a good way. I was different. And so it was like a lot of like, okay, like what can I do to show that, wait, no, I'm the same. And that was a lot of like getting the brands like Hollister, Abercrombie, Aeropostale, DC's, but that was like a really quick phase. And then like, oh my God, I remember when I was younger, straightening my hair, like every single day I would straighten my hair. Every single day, bro, I would straighten my hair. And so it was a lot of like morphing my appearance into something that was like more acceptable. I feel like when I got older, like when I entered college, thick girls were in, slim thick was in, you know, and it's like I had that down. And like when I got into college, I resembled kind of like what was trending at that time. It was like the Fashion Nova model, Jody Joe.
Fucking Jody.
But like,
oh, she's everywhere.
No, literally. But it was like a lot of like, okay, like people want girls who are slim thick, and it's like, I was thick, I had an ass, and you know, like I had the long curly hair, and like I looked more like exotic, like, you know, like racially ambiguous, and like people like that, whatever. And so a lot of what I was trying to do back then with my appearance was like, once again, fit into that mold, but like more so show that I could fit into that mold really well, versus when I was younger, it was like trying to like squish me inside a mold and being like I was Play-Doh, and I was like, all right, get inside the square, you know, versus this, I was already made a square, and I was just going to make sure everyone knew that I was a square. Literally.
A square.
Yeah. Yes, literally a square. So yeah.
Which is so interesting because there's still a mold in place.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
It wasn't about, look what shape I am. It was, look how well I fit.
Exactly.
Your criteria.
I was like almost typecasting myself.
Yeah. Good, successful appearance. I was similar to you in that I was different in a bad way. That's how I felt. I had a bigger body, like dimension, not height. I mean, I'm a shorty, but me too. I had a bigger body dimension wise than a lot of the people that I was around. I mean, as I always say, I went to, you know, school with a bunch of little white little twiggies. We
really lived like the same life. It's kind of weird.
It's kind of weird,
but makes good content.
Yeah, it does. And I kind of how in the last episode I talked about how shockingly young I became aware of these dynamics and started hustling. This one I was really fucking young too.
Yeah.
Really young. Like I remember being in kindergarten.
Yeah.
Thinking about this one, which is wild. I mean, if I go back and look at photos, I don't know why I had the impression that I was different. Yeah. I really don't. Like, and it wasn't, I was marginally larger than average. Like it wasn't anything crazy, but I've always had the belief that that was the case, you know?
Well, that was probably part of the narrative that was told to you. So it makes sense that as a kid, you're just going to believe what's told to you.
Yeah. I also think it was like, as soon as you figure out that you're not the one that your peers find attractive, you start looking for reasons it could be. Ooh. And I think that's one of the reasons I latched onto really early.
Yeah.
Before it was true.
Yeah.
Before I was like reasonably qualified as a plus size girl or plus size woman. Like that's one of the reasons I latched onto, you know?
Yeah.
But middle school in particular was when this got really bad for me because first of all, I was in cheerleading. And I remember, and I've told you this story before, like I remember we were all sitting around in a big stretch circle, right? Yeah. And doing the stretch where you like sit in a V and then you stretch each side. And I remember this girl asking the coach, what are those lines in the middle of my legs? And I was like,
no, listen, I have a very similar story.
Because I was so goddamn young. I didn't know what they were. And I hated that now all 15, 20 of these girls now know the concept of stretch marks because Hallie's the only one on the team that has them on her body. And I was like, y'all can all fuck right off.
Isn't it crazy? Like,
but it was moments like that started teaching me to hide and disguise and all of those things, right? Yep. The other big thing, and I've brought this up in the past, my little sister looks different than me. She has dark hair, dark eyes, tan in a millisecond, you know? Got a lot of attention for being this beautiful Puerto Rican presenting girl. And there was a family that was close with us when we were young. And the mom was like from Puerto Rico and just obsessed over how beautiful my sister was and her features and blah, blah, blah. So I don't know, between that and like all of the girls in my grade who were most desirable, I guess, by the evidence that I was collecting, they all had dark features and blah, blah, blah. And so I was just struggling. I remember this one moment when I was probably like 8, I sobbed when my brother got my sister and I Barbies and she got the brown one. I felt so invalidated. And I'm like, no, he's right to give me a white. I mean, I'm white. He's right to give me a white Barbie. And I was devastated.
That's so sad.
And I'm like, so I was under the impression for years and years and years and years that my shot at a good, successful appearance is pretty limited. And what was that app? I don't know. This was maybe high school, but what was that website where you can edit photos and we would put like really obnoxious like text in them? Picnic. Thank you. I would go on Picnic constantly with every photo I took, change my eye color, change my hair color. Like I was mocking up a version of myself with a successful appearance since I was way too young. Yeah. And that's wild. You know what crazy. I mean? That's wild. And honestly, I mean, like I took a lot of those I still carry a lot of that, honestly. I've come to terms a lot more with my appearance. We'll get into that later. But I was definitely under the impression that there were pieces of a good, successful appearance that I could achieve, like being skinny. Yeah. But it would take drastic measures, a lot of which I was willing to go to, and we'll get into that. But the other piece, I was like, I have to modify a lot of pieces of who I am. And like, I used to research like how to tan and all this stuff just because I so badly wanted to get to that. Yeah. You know? So my next question, and it fits right in, what were you trying to prove
that I wasn't
at different
different
stages of your life?
When I was a kid, I was trying to prove the fact that I really wasn't that different, that I was able to fit in, that like I wanted to like show people like, hey, I have value. I'm cool too. I'm interesting too. But just because I don't look like the blonde, pretty cheerleader doesn't mean that like, you know what I mean? Like, doesn't mean that you should just ignore me and everything like that. So I think that was like my primary thing when I was a kid, was really just showing like I can fit in. pay attention to me. When I was a young adult and I started getting that attention and I started being affirmed in my appearance and affirmed in my attraction, I wanted to like bring that home. Like I wanted to be like, yeah, I am a sex symbol. Like that's what I was really trying to tell.
I feel all the energy in this right now.
But like that's what I was really trying to do. Like be like, yep, I'm sexy. Yep, you should know that. Come on, you should know that. So yeah, those are the two things that I was trying to prove within my life.
Yeah, I hear that. I think I was trying to prove that I think I just wanted to be noticed for different things than I was getting noticed for.
Yeah.
Like I didn't want to get noticed because I was the only person with lines on the inside of my legs. You know what I mean? Like I didn't want to get noticed because I dyed my hair super dark and it looks terrible on my skin tone. Like that's what that's the shit that I was hearing constantly from my own parents. You know what I mean? Like I didn't want to be noticed for those things. And so I think I was trying to like almost neutralize the things that were catching people's attention so that I had a chance to be noticed for something else.
Yeah.
But I think at the end of the day, I did want to prove that I was... Yes, I wanted to prove that I was normal so that I could stand out for things I wanted to stand out for, if that makes sense. But normal's a crazy concept.
It really is.
My other question for you is, what kinds of things, if any, and I have one right on the tip of my tongue to answer this question if you want me to start, but what kinds of things were you willing to do to make it happen? To aspire and achieve that good appearance?
I'm gonna let you answer first.
Okay. This shit hurts my feelings. Like
safe space.
Yeah. Like I'm okay, but like when you look back on your past self and you're like, fuck, dude, I wish I could give you a hug, bro. You know?
Yeah.
Like I have this one memory in particular of when I felt such tangible hope as a kid. One memory, I mean, I felt hopeful at other times, but I remember how much hope I felt in this moment. And it's so sad when I look back on it, like the circumstances of that hope. I got enrolled in a home ec class when I was in 7th grade. Fun fact, that's where I learned how to wiggle my ears.
Really teaching you a lot in these home ec classes.
Day one, I learned the most valuable skill that I still remember. I don't remember shit from that class.
I really did.
I do have this memory though. When I found out that the curriculum was going to teach us how to sew, specifically, they were going to teach us how to sew different stitches and different shapes. My 7th grade brain immediately went to, this is amazing because I'm going to use this skill to sew lines in the pockets of my jeans so that people will think I can fit into the clothes that they're wearing. Because you know how like at that time, Abercrombie, Arrow, Aerie, what I forget, American Eagle, they all had their own, maybe they still do, distinct pocket.
Not Abercrombie. Abercrombie's gotten better.
Thank God. Yeah, I watched that documentary, but they all had their own distinct shape. And I was like a fucking 4th class citizen if I didn't have those on.
Oh my God.
And my mom could not conceptualize why I didn't want to buy random ass jeans that don't have lines on the pockets. And I was like, this is a brilliant solution. And I thought it was the absolute fix.
Yeah.
I'm like, damn, bro, I was 12 feeling such tangible hope over that. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Every new thing my brain was going back to, how can I use this to get a more successful appearance, to get closer to that objective? You know,
my mind goes to when thinking about what I was willing to do, and the thing that triggered that, what you just said that triggered this memory was like your mom not being able to conceptualize.
Yeah.
My mom would try so hard. I feel so bad now. Like she would like try so hard to like get me certain things. Like she'd be like, okay, like I remember like when Uggs became like a really big thing. I think I was in like 6th or 7th grade. I know I was 12. I was definitely in 7th grade. And my mom like went and found Uggs at Marshall's, but like they're not like the tall, like classic tall Uggs, you know,
camel
like,
colored.
Yeah, no, like these ones were like Bailey button, but they were tall and like they just were not. Oh, I remember they had like the fluff on the seams instead of being like a clean seam.
Dude, and I had these. I'm sorry. Like, I remember the exact store I was in when I was dealing with this.
Bro, like, I remember it was like a Tuesday afternoon, and my mom was like, oh, I found these. Can you tell me if you like them or not? Blah, 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 blah. And, like, I was, like, mortified. I was like, I cannot go to school wearing those. Like, I'm like, no. Like, I'm like, I can't go to school wearing those. And then there was another time for Christmas that she got me a watch. And I wanted a gold watch, and she got me a rose gold watch. And I was like, nobody else is wearing rose gold. How am I going to be the only person that's wearing rose gold? I'm like, you need to return this. I don't want this. Like, and it's just like, it's so sad. I mean, granted, I like definitely extend myself grace because I was freaking, like, I was young. You know what I mean? I didn't have like the interpersonal skills, the awareness that I have now, the ability to be like grateful that I do now, but like it's just like, wow, like I was really willing to like bypass a kind act that like my mom would do for me for the sake of trying to fit in or trying to look cool. And it's just like, it's crazy. Like something that I wanted to say when we were talking about what we defined as good, successful or appearances is that like when you start internalizing that shit so young, it takes so long to deconstruct this. And when you're in it, you have absolutely no awareness. I'm someone who believes that like in your brain, like when you create a new belief, regardless if that belief is a affirming belief or a negative belief, whatever it is, you're creating a space for that. And so since that space always exists, you need to put something to fill it in. And like when you start creating the belief when you're young from the narrative of like you stick out, you're not desirable, all these things, you know what I mean? It takes so long to decondition yourself. And like you're not going to realize when you're in the midst of it what harm you're doing to yourself, to others. And it's just like, it's so sad. Like it's so sad.
It really is.
Wow.
Oh, God. I feel it. And I literally feel this sadness like every day when I walk around and like see middle school and high school kids walking down the street, and I'm like, fuck, dude.
Oh my God, it's so
like
bad.
10 years from now they'll be making podcasts. Not that this is a bad thing. I'm just saying I wish I could save them now so they could make a podcast about something else other than fucking how damaged they are in their healing process. You know what I mean?
But I have to say, I feel like I have a lot more hope for this generation.
Oh yeah, me too.
Because like I feel like there's just a lot more conversation around that
There's
shit.
a lot of dialogue.
Like I know for me personally, my parents are people who like to fit in just because like my dad grew up, he was super poor, like always got hand-me-downs, was talking about how he was wearing clothes from the 60s and the 70s and just like it was not a cool thing. And then my mom was also poor, but she came here from Cape Verde, so like she had no idea, no understanding of like what was in or not. And so growing up there was definitely a dialogue in the house of like, we're gonna put you in like the nicest shit so like you don't feel the same way we did. But it's just like that shit fucks you up, man.
It does.
Fast forward 20 years, here I am making a podcast about it.
I'm sorry, that wasn't meant to be shady. I hear us talking about being motivated, obviously, by our peers. Also, well, when I say motivated, I mean motivated to care about this shit.
Yeah.
And to invest so deeply in this shit, mentally, emotionally, spiritually, physically, financially, everything, right? So I hear some of that pressure coming from our peers, some of it coming from within our own homes, actually.
Yeah.
And the other source for me was adults in my community who made these comments that to this day I remember. There was one adult in particular, a mother of one of my friends, who like would give advice about appearance as if it was objective and made it really clear that like people who are desirable and worthy never have bangs. They never wear horizontal stripes. They never this, they never that. And I have memories of like walking through a store and pointing like, oh, look at that shirt. And it had horizontal stripes. Like before I could finish my point, it was shot down.
Yeah,
like,
yeah.
No, girls, we don't, you know? And I'm like, fuck, dude. And at the time, I'm thinking like, okay, there's all these rules. And there's an adult here willing to teach them to me.
Yeah, yeah.
Okay, blah, blah, blah. That checks out with what kids at school are doing. Okay. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And like, just there were adults that made these comments that have stuck with me to this day. I remember an aunt of mine made a comment to me one day that I look the best I've ever looked. And it was at a period of my life where I really stopped eating. I want to say I was in middle school. I remember the exact outfit I was wearing. I feel like that day was literally yesterday. Like I can still connect with that version of myself. And I remember that the comment was affirming that the behavior was positive.
Yeah.
And that took a long time to deconstruct, you know? And the other woman who I said talked about the horizontal stripes was convincing me about the link between worthiness and appearance. And that there was a set of rules. So like this is why I say we've been sold this subjective in so many sneaky ways. You know what I mean?
Yep.
And I had to undo all of those feelings, all of those associations. Yeah. As an adult.
I remember.
Oh, there's an adult saying shit to you too?
No, I used to watch What Not to Wear religiously.
Oh, me too.
And I feel like
so embarrassing.
But like at the same time, it was like I was learning. Oh, I can't wear that. I can't wear that. I can't wear that. And it's like, personally for me, I don't have any like specific, actually, no, I do. I don't really want to get into them like moments of like adults in my real life telling me, but like, I remember like doing fucking research when it came to what not to research. Wear. Iconic show, but the jury on the mental damage is still out. Yeah. It was on during the day. It was on from like 10 to 1 or something like that. Like during the weekdays, and then like weekends I was always out. So I'd only watch it like on school vacation between 10 and 1.
Trauma marathons. That was a sad marathon. I think my favorite marathon was Finding Bigfoot. My sister and I would literally watch 9 hours straight of that, and my mom was flipping shit. That's so funny. I wasn't worried about my appearance.
She was worried about Bigfoot though.
I was. We found him. No kidding. I want to get into emotional indicators.
Yes.
We talked about them in the last episode. Would you describe what you mean by emotional indicators a little bit?
Yeah, of course. So I'm a firm believer that our emotions tell us things. They tell us things. Each emotion is trying to alert us about something that doesn't feel right, isn't right in a situation. And so I believe using emotions as indicators, leaning into that emotion to figure out, okay, what is this trying to tell me? And then using it to redirect. So that's what I think we mean by emotional indicators.
Totally.
Per.
And per. I honestly, if I tried hard enough, I could have gotten that one. And the thing about emotional indicators is they're present on either side of the line. Yeah. But it's almost with like a perfect separation that when you're doing it the objective way, you have the negative emotional indicators. And when you're doing it the subjective way, you have the positive ones. At least that's been our experience. But emotional indicators are such a good indicator, I guess, of which side of the line you're on right now. You know what I mean? You almost don't even have to have the behaviors on either side of the line committed to memory because you can feel your way through it, which is crazy. So I had asked you previously, what were some of the emotional indicators that came up for you? And I mean, it's a list. I'll just I'm not going to make you memorize them because we don't got to relive all that. But isolation, loneliness, insufficiency, frustrated, chronically misunderstood. And then we also had a list, anxious. I felt anxiety, fear, anticipation, unworthiness, total lack of control, chaos, shame, defensive, always have to be on edge, analyzing constantly, which is a full-time job for a child. It's a full-time job for an adult, honestly. Yeah. You're an analyst.
I am an analyst.
That's just a full-time job. You weren't getting paid to do that shit. Felt like we had to be prepared constantly. Yeah. Ahead of the insults or attacks or judgments. And here's the one that really got us. We were prepping responses like a 10-year-old PR team.
Crazy.
And that's the perfect way to describe it.
No, honestly.
That's shite.
It's terrible.
So we were hustling from a very young age, but what were some of the implications of that hustle chapter? Like, how did it affect you emotionally, spiritually, physically?
Oh my God.
And I know there's a long ass list, but
I feel like I just was not a happy child.
Yeah.
Like, when you're constantly, speaking about being in survival mode, like, I was in survival mode my entire childhood. I never want to be shown that I was an outcast, even though I was, and that was a belief that I had, but it was more of a fear that I had. Like, I didn't want to be shown that at all. And so, like, every day I would go to school on the defensive.
Yeah.
Like, ready to be like, okay, well, I need to be perfect in case this person wants to make fun of me for not having Abercrombie jeans, or like having Uggs that are in the wrong shade, or whatever it was. Like, constantly just like on the defense. And like, because of that, I mean, I didn't have this terminology when I was younger, but like, I wasn't able to be present.
Yeah.
Like, I wasn't able to like really just like rock out with my friends and like have fun, you know? Like, it was just very much so like focused on, okay, I need to fit in. 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 Which is sad.
It is. It is. And it starts shame spirals early.
Yeah.
It starts mental health issues early. It starts low self-confidence. It starts everything dumb fucking early.
It's so sad. Yeah.
I had written this thought that now that I read it again, I'm like, it's super poetic. So I'm just going to read it. I'm not going to try and say it again. I established very early on this association that my body was a canvas upon which I could paint my pleas for acceptance, community, belonging, and worthiness. Damn. And when it didn't work, because I didn't fit their standards, it damaged my connection to my own body. Yeah. It damaged my connection to my own appearance. My relationship is a better word.
Yeah.
Damaged my relationship to my own body, which we still work on to this day. Damaged my relationship to my own sense of hope. It damaged my understanding of what I deserve. Do I deserve to be loved and accepted? Do I deserve, you know what I mean? And I'm like, damn, bro, that shit sucks. The other thing is that I think we shared this.
Yeah.
We put so much of our self-worth into the hands and approval of other people and trends.
Yeah.
Which means if you could fit a trend because you had a piece of clothing that fits that, now I'm up.
Yeah.
If my parents are poor and can't buy me that shit, now I'm down.
Yep.
And the roller coaster of middle school years, even elementary school, I mean, the roller coaster of it all, so emotionally exhausting.
Yeah.
There's something very interesting you said to me.
Oh, yes.
About, well, yeah, you know what it is. Get into it.
So if you didn't know, I'm a professional TikTok scroller. I spent a lot of time on TikTok, but I will say I feel like the content that I come across on TikTok, aka my algorithm, I think is very thought-provoking.
It is.
And one TikTok that I came across was talking about how autism, well, systemically, women go longer undiagnosed compared to men. And a lot of this is because like women are pretty good at like masking and trend tracking. And like there's this one astrologer, her name's Lauren, and she was talking about this on TikTok. I'll put it in the show notes. She was talking about how like girls mask so well and they keep up with the trends so quickly because they're trying to like keep up with the formula so that they can mask. They end up becoming the trendsetters. So like there's this whole demographic of girls who are like undiagnosed autism, who are considered the it girls, and that they're like super trendy and whatever. And it's just like, no, they're just trying to mask. And like, that's fucking wild to me. Like wild to me that like we're so ingrained as a culture in trends and fitting in and all these other things that like there are actual people who are going without like medical attention and like proper diagnoses. And it's just like all because of fucking Abercrombie.
You know who I bet loves Abercrombie? Old Abercrombie? Henry Ford.
Probably.
Fuck that guy.
I must say, I do love new Abercrombie, but like reparations, like, come on.
Lit. So,
yeah,
let's flip the coin.
Ooh!
Let's step over the line.
Let's jump the broom.
Let's jump the broom. That's one of my favorite movies.
Really?
Jumping the broom. I love that movie. And I hate movies, so that's really saying something.
That's saying a lot.
Let's talk about where we are now.
Yeah.
And then we'll talk about what bridged that.
Oh, okay.
How did we get from there to here, right? So
yeah.
I want to present some examples of how we are now living our appearance subjectively. Mm-hmm. And then we'll make sense of what's changed to get us there.
Yes.
So what are some examples that you have of how you're living your appearance subjectively?
So the first thing that comes to thought are my nails, which I used to get acrylics. I had to get rid of them because like my nails were just very brittle, but still my nails.
Yes.
Like when I had acrylics, I would get like super ornate designs, and like I was not posting them on Instagram. I don't go out like that. So it's like they were really just for me. They made me feel like the fucking baddest bitch. Like the baddest bitch. And it was just like something that like made me feel so good, and like I loved spending that time with my nail tech and being able to collaborate and create together and like bring a vision to life. And so like that was definitely like one thing that for me was honoring my appearance subjectively, because I think getting your nails done is still something that's super trendy, but I was doing it for a different reason than, oh, let me post these on Instagram, let me like show that like my nails are so pretty and that I'm cool and all this other stuff. Like it was really just the process of like, I feel good getting my nails done. I like looking at my nails. I don't have to show off my nails, but I just like looking at them and I like having them. So yeah, that was one.
And you did the lipstick shape.
Yeah. Oh my God, I missed the lipstick shape. Yeah. Yeah.
You taught me that word.
Yeah. Meg the Stallion. I hope she's doing okay. I love Meg the Stallion. Another thing is like my haircut.
Yeah.
So like I get my haircut a certain way. Like I get a curly cut, first of all, because I wear my hair curly most of the time. But I get it shorter in the back and longer in the front with like layers. I think it's called an A-line cut. And it's like I almost get like a bob. Like I get like a long bob. And like even though like people like, I don't know, I feel like objectively long hair is better, it doesn't work on my head. Like my hair will get heavy and it like makes my hair less curly. So I'm like, fuck that, I'm gonna do short hair. And I do like the shorter in the back to longer in the front because I think it looks cool and it makes me feel cool. Another thing I do subjectively, yeah, I do my makeup a certain way. I really like my eyes, so I do like certain things to highlight my eyes and like really make them the center of attention. But yeah, what about you? She has some really cool answers.
I'm just at a place where I have so much fun with my appearance.
Yeah,
I know there's so much more fun to have, but I'm just like excited to talk about it, you know? The first thing for me, which is no surprise to anyone who knows me outside of the color pink, I'm obsessed with colors.
Yeah.
And I do colors in a very subjective way.
Yes.
So I typically wear all one color, but I work so hard to complete to complete an outfit with pieces from all over that are within the same color scheme. You know what I mean? And I adore the ability to be a certain color a certain day. I just love that, you know? And that was really exciting for me. Like I went to my first in-person, I don't even know what you would call it, not a conference, but like a project kickoff with a real job. Because you know, I'm not into real jobs, but I have one now. And I knew people were going to show up at all of the 5 days, most of the 5 days in business wear. And I said, you know what? No one told me a dress code. So I brought 5 outfits, 5 different colors, and I wore one each day and had the time of my fucking life. Yeah. You know what I mean? It was great. So color is a big thing for me. The other thing that's a big thing for me is fucking masculinity, bro. Yeah. Which is funny because we're doing a podcast largely about feminine energy and principles that stem from feminine energy. But I have always had a masculine energy. No.
Masculine.
Ooh, I've always had a masculine energy to me. And it manifested in a lot of ways. But I'm really happy that like I cleaned up my spirit. I cleaned up my heart. I cleaned up my mind. Do you know who does this? Ayanna Vazant. Do you know her?
Yeah.
She does.
Oh my God. I'm picturing her yelling at some guy doing that.
I'm like, I cleaned up my mind, my heart, my spirit of misplaced masculine energy. But one place I think it's not misplaced is in my appearance. I do think it belongs there.
Yeah.
And I like dressing with more masculine silhouettes. I really do like it. You know what I mean? So,
well, I wouldn't even go to say like how you dress is like entirely masculine. I think it presents masculine maybe, but like I feel like it's really based in feminine energy.
Its motivations are feminine for sure.
Yeah.
And then another piece I would say is my jewelry. Mm-hmm. Like I do feel this pressure to wear jewelry that fits certain trends, but I stick to my tried and true. Like this necklace, I found it at a pool in Miami, and I talked to every resident in the building trying to return it to them, and no one claimed it, and I've had it ever since. I wear it every day. I love it. It has a meaning. It has story. It's significant to me. And I buy other necklaces, put them on. They just don't do shit for me. You know what I mean? And I'm like, okay, this necklace it is. Mm-hmm. And I have all these things like, I want to get this necklace like restoned but like, I'm trying to keep this shit forever because it does something for me. One thing that we both brought up, and I just want to like gloss over it now. 2 people could be doing the same thing. Yeah. And one is doing it for the sake of objective living, and one is doing it for the sake of subjective living. Yeah. You could draw the same damn eyeliner that someone else does, and they're doing it because it's subjective, and you're doing it because it highlights your eyes and is a feature you absolutely love about yourself and feel better when you highlight it. Right.
And it's like, realistically, the confidence that comes with defining and executing your own appearance subjectively, it's amazing. Like, you own that shit. No one can take that away from you. And so,
yeah, it's a different kind of affirming.
Yes. Like, it's that different internal validation instead of external. Like, people cannot take that away from you.
Yeah. That's great. I would love us to talk about what has changed. Yes. Our mindset shifts or our actual behavior shifts that got us from objective to subjective, because you might be thinking, okay, great, so you do your hair a different way, that's not that big of a deal. But those are just the physical representations of all of the progress that's been made mentally, emotionally, spiritually. You know, so let's get into what has changed mentality wise. What's the first thing that comes to mind for you?
So the first thing that comes to mind for me is my motivations behind appearance and like my intentions behind appearance. So like I used to be someone where it's like, oh, this thing is trending, let me go buy it. And it's like, now I'm not so much trying to alter my appearance or like change how I dress, anything like that, for what, but rather how and why. Like for me, supporting Black owned businesses, small businesses, POC owned businesses is extremely important to me. Like this bodysuit I'm wearing is from Stripped Official. Like I love buying from small companies. Like I find that shit so cool because it's like, I don't know, it means a lot more than like going to fucking Jeff Bezos. Just like small things like that. And like, I don't know, I just like to feel more empowered in my consumer choices. I think something that we're starting to learn more is that like our dollar has a really big impact. And so I'm going to choose where my dollar goes. Because it's not just going there monetarily, it's going there spiritually. And like, I want to have intention with how I'm doing things. So yeah, I've definitely shifted from like a what-based mindset when shopping, doing my makeup, doing my hair, making decisions around those like things, versus to a why or maybe how. Like another big thing for me lately has been sustainability. Like I really want to buy clothes that are going to grow with me. Like I want to buy clothes that I'm not going to throw out after I wear 2-3 times. Like fast fashion is killing the planet. You know what I mean? And it's like, I understand not everyone can like opt out of fast fashion, but I know I can. And so with that, I'm going to try to make an impact and buy things that, okay, I'm going to have these for a while these are things that are high quality. I know these are going to be like basics that I can rewear and rewear and rewear. So yeah, it's a lot more intentional decisions made around my appearance.
Yeah. I like what you said about, am I shopping for what, or am I shopping for how and why?
Yeah.
I think that's powerful. I also have made shifts in those similar ways, and I would add to your list, I typically try to buy from plus sized, like specifically plus size women, right? Who are developing clothes for their community, like at my community, you know what I mean? So I would add that to the list for myself. Another thing that has shifted for me hugely is that I feel like I have an actual relationship with my clothing. Like if we were to walk through my closets, because y'all should know, I moved into a new apartment and I have multiple closets in different locations, and I put my green clothes in my green bedroom and my pink clothes in my pink guest room, and I just love that for me. I love it, right? And like, yeah, it's great. So if we were to do a house tour and walk through my closet, and you were to pull a piece and say, tell me about this, I could tell you when I bought it, where I bought it, why I bought it, why I love it, what my future plans are for it, my favorite outfits to wear it with, memories I have in those outfits. Like my clothes at this point are loaded to me. And I love that actually, because I don't know, maybe it speaks for itself. I love it. I love it. I love getting dressed.
Yeah.
And here's the thing. My body has not shifted towards the beauty standard in the past X amount of years. I've actually gained weight, which is fine. But I enjoy dressing my body 10 times more now.
Yeah.
And it's because of this shift.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Girl, I get it.
Totally because of this shift. The other thing that has changed for me, and this has been so healing, validating. This is like, if you told me, make a list of your top 10 experiences. Actually, let me phrase this differently. You know how Germans have a word for everything? You ever get those posts that come across and be like, 10 words that exist in German to describe phenomenon you felt, but we don't have a word for in English?
Yeah.
Bro, the Germans got to have a word for this. That to me is how wild this experience feels for me. When I see a trend come up and my instinct says, it's not you, buddy. You don't even got to participate. Whoop. That shit feels so good.
Yeah.
That like the one that comes to mind for me is claw clips. Oh, that shit does nothing for me. It does not match my aesthetic. It doesn't match anything about my enjoyment, the way I do my hair. It does nothing for me. Yeah. And being able to opt out that quickly, brilliant.
Isn't it so nice when you can do that? Because it just kind of affirms like, yeah, I'm doing shit the way that I need to do it.
Yeah. And it the thing is, it doesn't affirm everyone who bought into that is a loser.
Yeah.
It has nothing to do with that. And that's not even a thing in my mind. I'm not thinking y'all look dumb, so I'm not going to do that. No. And that's, I'm not saying that. I'm saying
y'all look great. I'm including me because I'm a claw clip girl.
Yeah. But the option to the instinct to opt out. I've overridden some of my instinct, which is so healing.
Yeah. I love that.
Yeah. Another thing, and I think we've talked about this at length, is I'm dressing for me. Yeah. Right? I'm dressing to catch my own eye in the mirror. I think you said that. I'm dressing to catch my own eye in the mirror and be like, damn. Yeah. For me, I'm dressing to go on walks, and I don't care if everyone's at home taking a nap with their blinds shut. I don't care. I am dressing to walk a little taller on my morning walk because I love this fucking outfit. Yeah. And so a question we've used to check ourselves, maybe check's a strong word, but to evaluate our motivations in a given moment or wearing a given thing. Is this thing that I'm about to buy or put on my body, whatever, worth the time, money, and effort it takes to get it if no one ever sees it and I get no social credit for wearing it?
I want you guys to ask yourself that the next time you're like on the fence about, should I buy this? Should I put this on? Like, if no one saw you, absolutely no one saw you, are you still doing it?
Yeah. Because I'll be honest, look, I have moments all the time where I'm like, you know what I want, you know what I need, and something comes in my mind, and then I ask myself this question. I'm like, fuck, dude.
Yeah.
The honest reason I want this is to show out for other people. And like, I just want to say I'm sorry to all. Well, I'm sorry, but I empathize with all the sneakerheads who are really upset about the way that like all these bitches just fucking zoom and diluted the entire culture that you care about. You know what I mean? Like, that's sad. That's like sad and hard. But shoes is a place where like individuality is at like a level 0.
Oh yeah.
You know 1,000%. What I mean? A level 0. So I've had to really push myself. Like, would I love to accompany my fashion choices with shoes? Absolutely. But I've really pushed myself to check my intentions before I invest in those. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I don't know. Do you have any thoughts coming up
related to that? Or
I don't know. I couldn't tell if that was like an affirmative yeah or like a I'm riffing yeah.
No, affirmative yeah. Personally, I'm thinking about when we went to the thrift store over the weekend, and like I tried something on and I was like, this looks good. I feel like I should get it. And then Mary and Meanie popped into my head and was like, darling, don't should yourself. And I was like, you're right. Like, and we had a discussion about this. I'm like, there's literally no emotional reaction. Like, I'm not excited. You said this. You're like, you're probably not excited to buy it. I'm like, you're absolutely fucking right.
Yeah.
I'm not excited to buy this. And so I ended up putting it back. And it's just like, it's nice being able to make those decisions.
It is.
Yeah.
It is. It's very affirming. You feel like, I know myself.
Yeah.
I know my emotional indicators. I know what brings me joy. I know what makes me feel good in my own body. I know, it's energizing. It's affirming. It's everything.
You know what it is? It's trust.
It's precisely.
Yeah, it's trust. Like, it feels so good to trust in yourself, to trust in a process, to trust in the universe, just to be able to like let go of any worry, anxiety, anything that you have, and just trust is like so beautiful.
Per.
Ah.
The other thing that I think has changed for me that's been really big, I have always been a person who felt like, transparently, I just haven't had that many romantic relationships, which I always felt was fucking bullshit, because I'm like, I'm prepared. Yeah. You know what I mean? Let's do it. But I haven't had that many. And so I've had, over the years, I would have questioned why. Yeah. Why. And of course, I try and find something to latch on to. So I had this concept of my fatal flaws that prevent people from getting in relationships with me. And one of them I thought was, men don't want to date masculine women. Well, actually, I didn't think that. My man friends told me that men don't want to date masculine women.
First of all, what do men know? Nothing.
Crickets.
Smooth brains.
Chicken breast head.
That sounds like something that would be on Abbott Elementary. That's so funny.
It does. Yeah, you're right. So men told me men don't like to date masculine women. So, you got to put a dress on or something. And I'm like, ugh. But what's interesting is, before I had this like deep conviction in how I prepare my appearance subjectively, I thought they were right. Yeah. I was like, that's a sacrifice I have to make. I have to change the way I dress. I have to change the way I look if I want something like a relationship, And I'm like, I'm so proud of this process, because I've come to a point where I'm like, I'm unwilling to part with that part of me. I will be wearing the same damn clothes happily in a relationship next calendar year, says my stars.
Actually, I found out something really interesting on TikTok.
Okay.
That apparently the degree in which your rising sign is at will tell you the age that you're supposed to meet the person that you're like meant to settle down with. I don't know if that's true, but I'm a Cancer rising at 29 degrees, the anoretic degree, the millionaire degree. That's not my words. Those are astrologers' words. So I'm supposed to be my person at 29. We'll see.
What's mine? I can keep talking while you look for it.
Yeah.
Okay. Something that's changed significantly for me are the goals and dreams I have related to my physical appearance. Yeah. My aspirations are entirely different entirely different. And that means my behaviors, the things I have to do to achieve them, are entirely different. For example, I have this one goal that I'm super fucking jazzed about. I would love to edit in some meaningful way every single piece of clothing that I own. And I want to be able to look through my closet and say, I made that. Maybe not from scratch, you know what I mean? But I added that for this reason. Like, I want a wardrobe that so meaningfully displays my inner world on the outside.
Yeah.
That's fun. That's cool. I never had goals like that. As you remember, my old goals were to learn how to sew so I could sew fucking Abercrombie stitches on my jeans. And now it's to learn how to sew. Well, I have a sewing machine. I know what I'm doing a little bit, but
yeah,
for entirely different reasons. You know what I mean?
And that's so beautiful.
Yeah, it's just so beautiful.
We love it.
There's a few more things that I want to ask you about because they're just random concepts that we want to fit in here because they're solid. But the big difference here is that our appearance process used to be motivated by shame, rigidity, expectations, struggle, blah, blah, blah. And now it's individuality, creativity, play, grace, joy. They're all part of the process. And that shit just feels good. And like you said, the real kicker is this all like culminates to self-trust.
Yeah.
I trust myself.
Yeah. I also think we keep bringing this up, 2 + 2 = 5, you know?
Yeah.
Like, when you can start engaging with your appearance in a way that like isn't just I need to like look okay and like I need to get the approval of other people, the validation of other people, whatever, and you start looking at it from like a place of like, okay, like what is the intention that I'm trying to get right now? Like, is it I'm trying to be creative in this process, I'm trying to feel good about myself, whatever. That added value is addicting. But it also is like,
but healthy.
It's healthy. And it's just like, it does so much more than just like putting out an outfit because it's trending.
It does.
Yeah.
You mentioned BBL fashion.
Ha ha ha. Yes.
Tell me about BBL fashion.
So BBL fashion, which I found out via TikTok, is basically, when we think of BBL fashion, for me, the first thing that comes to mind is Fashion Nova. But it's like really just fashion, like clothing items that are meant to complement the body that literally serve no purpose but making your body look good, which isn't a bad thing at all, but it's like devoid of like any like personality, any creativity, any like just anything, like any subjectivity. And it's really just trending items that make your body look good. And so this whole idea of people trying to step away from BBL fashion is wearing things that aren't one-dimensional, like that aren't just like a singular dress that has a pattern on it, going for things that like add texture and add dimension and add different details to look at in an outfit, and like not dressing solely for the purpose of making your body look good. And like it's been so interesting to see that discussion kind of like flow on TikTok, and see how people like really take it and run with it, because it's like now, oh my god, I'm pretty sure there's this girl, her name's Aaliyah Core on TikTok. Like that's like a whole like style right now where it's like you have like
cottage core but Aaliyah core,
and it's like she dresses like hyper feminine, which is so cool. She wears like furry boots and like mini skirts with like really big belts, and everything is pink, and she wears like a furry hat to match the furry boots, and then she wears like a pink puffer jacket, and like all of these things that are like so intentional, and she just does so fucking well, bro. And it's like an example of moving away from BBL fashion, and I think that's really cool.
True. I also want to hear about Doja Cat because you just always bring the relevant TikTok concepts to me.
So Doja Cat at Paris Fashion Week. So the first show, or I don't know if that was the first show, but the first thing that comes to mind is I believe she went to the Schiaparelli show. I believe that's how you pronounce that designer's name. And like beautiful, her makeup was done by Pat McGrath, and it was all red. Like her entire face, chest, décolletage, arms, everything was covered in like red gemstones, and it was so cool. And she had an all red look, and she just looked so cool. Yeah. And someone did a really great TikTok explaining how this is dressing for the feminine gaze. Yeah. Like objectively she looks good, but like if you're a man, well, I'm not gonna say all men, but like you're probably just like, I don't get it, like why would she do that? And it's like,
well, a lot of them said that.
Yeah, a lot of them did
like,
say that
to our faces and online. A lot of men were like, the fuck are you doing?
Yeah, like doesn't make any sense. But it's like when you look at it, it's like the detail that goes into that, and it's like truly dressing for the female gaze versus the male gaze, because it's like the male gaze is all about what looks attractive, what draws men to me, and it's like putting like 6,000 fucking red rhinestones on your face is not going to make men attracted to you.
So I should do that starting tomorrow.
Right. But like she looks so fucking cool. Funny enough, people were calling her out for not wearing eyelashes in that look. So the next look, this really had me dead. First of all, love the suit that she was wearing. It was like, it was a more masculine look. Like she was wearing like some sort of a suit, but like it was just really cool. It looked very luxe. But on her face, she wore eyelashes for eyebrows and a mustache. And it's just like, she doesn't care. Like she's really just having fun with it. But it's just like, I feel like Doja Cat is like a really great example of like just doing whatever the fuck you want because you want to do it and really not caring. Like she's just a really great like subject of the topic.
Agreed.
Yeah.
Agreed. And it's important to have these people to be looking at and to be seeing the choices that people are making who understand this concept.
Yeah.
And that brings me back to what I'm so grateful you let me talk about last time, which is the idea of a group project.
Oh, yes.
So when I meet up with people and we're all wearing the same color, or like there's a consistency between the way that we look, I call us a girl band or just a band, you know? But there's this aspiration on the other side where there's just so much contrast between us because we're walking in our own truth, you know what I mean? Because I'm truly dressing my subjective my appearance subjectively, and so are you, and so are whatever. And I have two friends in particular that have such different styles than me that they're jarring to see the three of us together, and I call it a group project. You know, we look like a discombobulated group project, but I love it because I know that each of us, we are doing our appearances subjectively.
Yeah, because it means that you're staying true to your individuality, like, and that's really cool. That's really cool in my opinion. Yeah. Like when you're in your individuality, you're standing in it, you're confident in it, that like being with other people who don't match that doesn't jar you. If anything, that makes you more interesting. Like,
and you actually feel a stronger sense of belonging, even though it's not visual belonging, which is so interesting. Mm-hmm. So let's leave our lovely pink listeners with some strategies.
Okay.
First and foremost,
listen to Bluey. Watch Bluey. No, I'm kidding.
Yes. 2, pay attention to those emotional indicators.
Yeah.
Okay?
Yeah.
Because like that question about would I still invest the time, effort, money to get this and put this in on my body or make this a piece of my appearance if no one else ever got to see it and I got no social credit for doing it? If the answer is no, I wouldn't. Okay. Yeah. Take it for what it's worth. You know what I mean? Pay attention to those emotional indicators. If you feel shame, pressure, anxiety, all this stuff related to preparing your appearance, there's a really good sign. It's a good sign that you're on the objective side of the line.
Yeah. I also want to say our emotions, they serve a purpose.
All of them.
Like we don't just get emotions to like make things like uncomfortable. Like, no, they serve a purpose. And so figure out what that emotion is, lean into that emotion, and it'll tell you.
Exactly. Another thing, and I would love if you would chat about this one.
Roll back to the beginning of the episode where I talked about like a library almost, and like once you create a belief, there's always that space. I feel like once you figure out what's not working for you and you take the book out, you're probably not going to put that same book back in. And so something that I think is really important and helpful about this process is that you do the work once and you don't have to be so active about healing this relationship. Like once you're aware of it, you're pretty much going to be consumed by it. The same way we're consumed by trying to fit into trends for a while. Once you become aware of it, like, you're going to want to make the most significant change while you're aware of it. You know what I mean? And so
you're going to be obsessed with fitting into yourself.
Yeah.
And it's wild.
But it's a very exciting process and a very fulfilling process.
Exciting, yeah.
But it's like, once you've done the work, the majority of the work, you don't really have to like go back and change too much. I think there's always maintenance that's required. I mean, I'm a supply chain girly, so part of every single diagram we have is is a control phase, which just means going back and like making sure everything's still working. But yeah, like, once you've done the work, once you've figured out the problem, once you've solved the problem, it's pretty much done. You just gotta kind of go back and check on it and be like, yo, you still alive? Yeah, cool. You know?
Cool.
So I think that, yeah, that's something that's also extremely optimistic about doing the work.
Yes. It's a fun process pretty much throughout, actually.
Yeah.
I mean, it's revealing, it's challenging, but it's fruitful from the moment it starts, you know?
Jeez.
There's one other piece of advice that I would like to offer, but I just want to preface it by saying, do not take this advice if it's going to make you shame spiral. Yeah. I just want to say that. And I was once in this book authoring program, and the leader of this program said something to me that was very interesting. He said, when you're trying to write a book on a certain topic, don't read other books on the same topic.
Yeah.
He made it very clear that that would cloud my own vision for my own work. Mm-hmm. So I've kind of applied that to my appearance, to be honest. And I try to not be constantly consuming other ways that other people prepare their appearances all the time. Like,
yeah,
you can't, I mean, I don't walk through the world with my eyes closed. That's not what I mean. But I'm saying, like, personally, I've made the personal choice, as addicting as TikTok is, I want to be there so bad, but it was not working for me.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
That's how I feel with Instagram.
Right. So I've made the choice to step away from that so that I have a clearer vision, less informed by what other people are doing.
Yeah.
That's working for them and how they prepare their appearance. Because let's be honest, there's some real fucking baddies on TikTok that are plus size women that low key, some of them have like things that resemble me, and I see them, I see they look good, and I want to do that.
Yeah.
But I don't want to do that more than I want to do me. You see what I'm saying? So like, I had to prioritize and cut out those
toxic
ideas.
behaviors.
Or not even toxic, just maybe they're subjective living for them, but it's subjective for them. It's not the right answer for me. I don't want to be presented all the time with a ton of ways that I should want to do things. You know what I mean?
Yeah. So. Well, by toxic behavior, I actually did a meditation on this today, which is like why this is like fresh in my mind. It's just more about like, where do you want to be? How do you want to be? Like, subjectively, where and how do you want to be as a person? What's preventing you from getting there? If it's scrolling on TikTok and comparing yourself, like the same reason why I'm off Instagram, constantly comparing yourself, like triggering shame, spiraling, all these things, it's like, that's a toxic behavior because it's not making you feel good, you know? So it's like, you need to be a little bit strict with yourself and saying, this is not making me feel good. This is not helping me get to like my goal any quicker. This is not helping me get where I want to get. I got to step back from this.
Yes.
So,
yeah, I think the way that my brain works is like, I have all this space for ideas, and I can go source a little bit of inspiration and then create all my own ideas, or I can go source a little bit of inspiration and then get stuck in Pinterest, and all my idea space fills up with other people's visions. And that's where I get stuck. You know, that's why I'm like, I need to limit how much, like, when that door is open, that ideas door, I need to limit how much I'm knee deep in other people's visions for how to do this, because I want to do it in a very individualized, subjective way. Yeah. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Yeah. So I wanted to put that little piece of advice out there, and I know it won't serve everyone, but if that sounds like you, maybe it will help, you know?
But I think that's also a really great, wait for it, testimony on like the work you've done subjectively, like with yourself, managing yourself. How do you learn about yourself? You know what I mean? So it's like you said, that might not work for everybody, whatever, but it's like once you get to know yourself, there are things that are going to work for you and really good for you.
Yeah.
We're just some experts in that area, very loosely. Yeah.
Loosely. But it's a beautiful thing, you know, because our motivations to be to subjectively know ourselves and live subjectively are high enough that we're willing to make life changes. And it's not this like terrible, oh, this sucks, it's so hard. Like for me it's been a delight to be off TikTok. It was a delight to be on it, but the emotional indicators showed me there's a lot of shame here, there's a lot of stuff going
pressure
on. Yeah, exactly. And so, you know, just two bitches following the emotional indicators.
There's actually an emotional ladder that I hope one day can fit into one of our episodes, because I would love to talk about that.
We'll make it fit. What do you mean?
That's what she said. Michael Scott.
Oh my god, the fucking Office. See, it's subjective living. I never want to like that show ever. It's a polarizing topic.
No, I get it. I think really the humor is so witty. Like, I just think it's so funny.
In other news, Survivor starts soon. But I know all of you don't care about that, but I really do. You know why? Because I'm living subjectively.
Yeah.
Yep.
Like me, I'm watching Bluey right now. Subjectively.
Okay, that's subjective. We should all be doing that. See, you're ahead of the curve, Sydney. Such a smart one. Well, that's all we have for you.
That's all, folks.
Yep, that's all, folks. Wrap them up.
Oh, I forgot.
Sydney,
Sorry.
This is a you job.
Yeah. Okay, well, thank you so much for listening. We really appreciate you just spending time with us, sharing space with us. We really love it. If you'd be so kind to leave us a review on Apple or Spotify, whatever platform you're listening to, please leave a review. We would absolutely love it. If you need to get in contact with us, or if you want to, I don't know if there's any situation that you would need to, but either or, you can DM us at the Color Pink Podcast on Instagram. We also have an email, thecolorpinkpodcast@gmail.com, but if you want a quick response, hit us up on Instagram.
Yeah.
And yeah, we're both kind of off social media, so we're just gonna leave with the podcast Instagram. But
there it is.
We love you. Thank you so much for, once again, just spending time with us, listening to our ideas. If you have ideas, if you want to continue the conversation, you know where to reach us. And yeah, that's all, folks. We love you.
Love you, pink people.
Bye.
Peace out.